Sorry about that. So let's call the meeting, or committee of the whole meeting for the Board of Education, School District number 40 at 6 p.m. on Monday, April 11th at 2022 at Coolidge Professional Development Room. Call to order. We have a roll call, please.
Audrey Adamson. Here. Justin Anderson. Chet DeSmet.
Here.
Kate Schaefer.
Here.
Maria S. Trigueros.
Here.
Andrew Wayer.
Here.
Aaron Waldron Smith.
Here. So we'll move on to approval of the minutes. I need a motion to approve the minutes of the committee of the whole of March 10th of 2022.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We have no public comment? We do not. All right. So we'll move on to our first presentation of our therapy dog update. Copies are here.
So if you didn't know, today is National Pet Day. So we have some pets here, but they're not pets when they come to school. When they come to school, they are employees or they're at work, like we like to say. And so just to give you a little bit of background, in November of 2020, November of 2020, Marlena Urban, the school social worker at Wilson, reached out to me with the idea of exploring the possibility of starting a therapy dog program in the district. So during the next several months, we were able to explore that, talk with some other neighboring districts, mostly those on the other side of the river, who have established therapy dogs programs, and we're able to develop some board policies and some procedures and operational procedures for the program, and started that program last spring with the idea of starting a therapy dog on site this fall. One of the things that I am most proud of with this program isn't that it's just great for kids. It's because we're able to do this 100% based on grants and donations. So we have been able to pay for stipends and pay for all the training and the needs at school for the dogs solely through benefactors. One of the other things I wanted to mention is that we don't have any data for you. There's no hard and fast data that we can show you that this program is helping students. We have a lot of anecdotal stories, some which they'll share with you today. But one of the things that I've noticed is that if I could just count smiles, that would be data that I could provide you, but I don't have that. So I'm going to introduce to you Marlena Urban, who's a school social worker at Bicentennial and Wilson, and also Jace Teed, who is the school counselor at Jane Addams. So those are our two owners, handlers, as well as the dogs, and they're going to get started. And I think, Marlena, you're going to go first.
Thank you so much for having us. This is Cooper's first official board meeting, so thanks for inviting us. Yeah, that would be great. So as Kristen said, he was my COVID puppy. He's the first dog I have ever had. So the fact that we are off on this journey has been really exciting. Just a little bit about Cooper. He is a mini golden doodle. We got him back in, he was born in August. His birthday is August 20th. You want to go see Smokey, don't you? Come up here. And luckily he's small enough I can pick him up. We can't do that with Smokey. And so he is 1.5 years old right now. He is your typical dog when he's not at work. He loves to play catch. He likes to go to the dog park. We have trained him so that he knows the word work. So on Tuesdays, he does not work. So he waits for me as I put on my shoes to see if I'm going to say go to work, and he doesn't get that command. So he just gets to be a dog. But on the days when it's time to go to work, he gets excited. He runs to the car. And he knows when we approach Wilson, he knows the streets now, and he starts to get really excited in the back seat. So he loves work just as much as the students love to have him there. We have some more information on how we've incorporated Cooper into the Wilson community, and this is an ever-evolving program as we learn how to use him. We started off the school year with building-wide assemblies to get each grade established to having a dog in the building. What were some expectations for the students, because they need to learn how to interact with him, as well as the staff. I did learn, no offense to the Wilson staff, but it's harder to train adults than it is students. The students picked up on it great. They know to always ask to approach. Some of the teachers just like to get them all riled up. So that's probably the biggest challenge, but everybody loves him. We've been using him as behavior and attendance incentive. So if kids meet certain goals, you know, with behaviors like no referrals for a certain amount of time, they can earn extra Cooper time. Great way to teach empathy and adaptability, especially he was a first year. We called him a sixth grader at the beginning of the school year. So I know when we first sent out an opt-out email at the beginning of the school year. And one of the incoming sixth grade parents sent me an email, and never met her, said, I just wanted to let you know, my son was full remote last year. He's been in tears about starting Wilson, coming to school in person. And I just read your email, and he smiled for the first time in months. So that was before we even started. So that's just huge. Well, then coincidentally on Unpack Your Backpack night, he came, met Cooper, it was great. And then the first day of school, I was walking around the building, and it just so happened the minute I passed the door, his mom that was the car I passed. So I opened the door, out stepped this young man. And now this young man still stops by to see Cooper at least twice a day. Just a quick pat on the head, he's great. He was out of school for a while this school year, so we did a Google Meet just to connect with him, so he knew that Cooper missed him. So that was a really great way to integrate sixth graders, as well as seventh and eighth graders who had a year off as well. Let's see here. A lot of our ELA teachers have used him as a reading incentive. So they read so many minutes, they earn Cooper cash, and then those kids get to come down and read to Cooper one-on-one or in a small group. Our ELL teacher did a curriculum on working dogs. So for that, she did that over several months. It started off with us coming in, and the kids interviewed Cooper and I. And then when they were done with their curriculum, I went in and interviewed them, and they wrote letters about what they learned and practiced their English and read them to Cooper. So that was a fun way to integrate him. I've established a Lights On for Learning club this school year. It's the Positivity Club. So I've got a group of about 8 to 9 kids that come every Friday morning. We work on doing self-esteem boosters, way to create a positive school environment, ways to give back. They've done fundraisers, and then they just also get to have some extra time with Cooper. I don't know if that little video will play. If you want to try it, if not. So this is them playing volleyball with Cooper. They have taught him to bop it with his nose, so that's a favorite game to play.
Beach ball.
It's actually called an ollie ball, so it's like a mylar balloon that's got like a covering on it, so he can't pop it. So that's just kind of a fun game that he plays with students a lot. Desensitizing fears, which is a story I will share at the end, and then just again, support for staff and students. I did have a few interviews from staff, but to keep the presentation short enough, we neglected to put those in. But I've had staff say that it's just more fun to come to work. If they're having a bad day, they come down, they schedule time on their prep time. Hey, is Cooper available? Can I come sit in your office for 5 minutes? So that's been a really beneficial thing for, I think, everybody. He loves that ball. Well, let Smokey come up next. Oh, these are just fun pictures. Of course, these are fun. So just kind of some pictures throughout the year, like that one right in the center is the ELL group that did the curriculum boost. My Lights On for Learning club there with Miss Brem, she's one of our PE teachers. We taught him to go through tires. He was really scared of tires at first, just being even in the gym. So the kids taught him to kind of be courageous and face your fears and be brave. So we always incorporate ways to, you know, create those situations to teach him things. And then after like 10 minutes, he was able to jump through all the tires, and the kids felt like they accomplished something. That lower one there by the kind picture, we did an all-school fundraiser. So that was all the stuff we were able to donate out to the animal shelter out in Milan. And then, you know, like my little friend there, she has a shirt on that matches Cooper. And then we also did a fundraiser for Cooper's Crew t-shirts, and we raised over $400 to donate back to the Therapy Dog Fund to help continue that. So we'll do that every year, so incoming sixth graders can order shirts. So yeah, that's just some of Cooper's experiences throughout the year. So I'll pass it over to Smokey.
All right. So this is Smokey. Smokey, a little bit bigger than Cooper there. So he goes to Jane Addams with me, and also goes to Hamilton with my wife Sarah, who's the school counselor there. So he sees lots of students. He probably sees almost 900 students a week. He is, I think, about 6.5 years old and a Labradoodle. Loves ball, which usually gets the tail wagging and some interest there for him. But Smokey's actually a service, trained as a service animal. So he's a therapy dog, but has the service license. He came to my extended family, trained already. He came from a program called CARES in Kansas. There we go. And actually lives with my mother-in-law, but we'll spend the night over at the Teed's house on occasion. So let's see here. He does enjoy being read to. And that's often kids, maybe a classroom that needs a little, something to spice up to keep people, students attending and for the ability to read with him. For some of our students with maybe a little bit more behavior and they need some time to calm down, it's a nice incentive, a nice option for them because he's normally pretty chill. Honestly, this right now is like Smokey pretty excited when he's got his best on. And also, I mean, with the desensitizing fears, I mean, that with maybe some school anxiety, but also in a way like for students that have some fear around animals. Again, we sent an opt-out option, and had a few students that were, emails from parents that were like, they don't really want to opt out, but they're just a little nervous. And it's been a nice opportunity for them to kind of see how they can overcome some fear and gradually work into that. And they're not scared once they see how chill and relaxed Smokey is, and that's something we can work into. I agree with Marlena that just leave that alone. Students are excited. He only comes right now once a week to Jane Addams and once a week to Hamilton. As Sarah and I are Smokey's very well trained, but Sarah and I had to do some training this fall to be certified handlers because we did not do that initial training with him in Kansas. So we had to be trained. He knew what to do. But I think I'm running on here a little bit. The students appreciate it. They look forward. Is Smokey coming tomorrow? It's like, it's Thursday. It's always Thursday. They're in for a surprise tomorrow because tomorrow he's coming on a Tuesday. So they're going to be like, it's on Thursday. But they're always excited for him to be there, and the staff too. I think, for kind of just as stressful as these last couple of years have been on everybody, I think it's nice for the teachers and other staff in the building to have kind of just that quick mental break, the core soul change in their brain, just to kind of like relax. Trauma response, and there's some students that have specifically that Smokey spends some time with, who have just been through some trauma in their life in the last few months. So this is just him laying. Usually there's a picture, the one on the bottom left where there's some girls laying with him, that's at Jane Addams, and he comes with me. If I go into a lesson, he's with me. If we're doing one-on-one or groups, he's with me. There's times where, if they're doing more reading, I'll put them in a stay command and students will read and I can kind of be in an earshot and the teacher's comfortable with that. But they kind of have an incentive plan to who even just gets to sit with him and have some time. And I know Sarah has a student who's really just wasn't excited about reading, but believes that he's teaching Smokey some sight words and reading and teaching Smokey, and that's gotten him really, really excited. So I'm not sure what the next slide is. You want to do that one?
Yeah, I'm gonna end with this one, and I'm so excited because this is a recent success story, and this young man's parents allowed me to share this with you guys tonight. So this is a young man in our life skills classroom at Wilson, and he has a dog at home, but he is fearful of all other dogs. So the entire school year, before the school year even started, we sent home a social story. We worked with him on, this dog's coming to the classroom. I'm in this classroom quite often. Whenever at the beginning of the school year we would come in, this young man would run to the back of the room, cover his ears and scream. Didn't want anything to do with Cooper. We gradually tried some things. I had like a stuffed weighted dog that he would hold on his lap. Oh, you can't go play with Smokey, I'm sorry. And just gradually worked on it. Then I got to where he would sit at the table for my group, but he would say no when it was time to pet Cooper. He never wanted to. And so my personal goal was by the end of the school year, we were going to overcome this. Well, last Thursday was our day. So last Thursday I was doing group and he just kind of seemed a little bit more attentive to Cooper. So I thought, okay, I asked the teacher, can I stay for 10 extra minutes? So we sat down next to him and I kind of turned Cooper's head away from him so he could just see, and he was really curious about the ID badge. And I kept saying, touch it, you can touch it. And he like quickly just touched it and pulled his hand away. So I was like, that was great, that was great. Well, then I had him put his hand on top of mine. I said, I'm gonna pet Cooper, just pet with me. And so he left his hand on my hand, which normally that would not have happened. So I pet Cooper, his hand was on top. And then within a couple of minutes, I was able to slowly pull my hand out and he touched his fur. And you should have seen the look on his face. It was like he lit up like, oh, I just touched his fur. And then I said, can you do it again? And so he open hand touched. And the whole time the teacher was taking pictures and video to send to the mom because we knew this was huge. And then that last picture, this was the same day, about 2 hours later, I went in again and he came over and grabbed Cooper's leash. And I said, do you want Cooper to walk you out to Dad's truck? Yeah. And so he walked Cooper all the way out to Dad's truck. Dad was like, what is happening? I said, well, they're best friends now. And, I messaged the mom and I'm like, I'm just so proud of your son. I knew this was a huge fear and he's overcome it. And she just expressed that, for students with disabilities, it's really important that they appreciate dogs outside of their comfort zone because you don't want them to overreact. And then that sets a dog off out in the community. Unfortunately, he's moving up to the high school next year, but I'm hopeful maybe we can continue that relationship. Most of us love therapy dogs from the get-go, and you just want to be around them, you want to participate. But this was my success story, which made this whole year worth it, that, even those kids that are a little bit adamant, eventually they come around. And so it was kind of life-changing for me. And I think for this young man as well as his family. So it was a great way to round out the school year. And I was like, it happened right before the presentation, so I could share that story. It was perfect timing. So I'm sure Jason and I would love to answer any questions you have or comments or.
What's the plan to add more therapy dogs to the school?
Yeah, we actually just met last week on that.
An oversight committee of which I put Marlene in charge very wisely. And so we have actually an application process. And so we get periodic requests for or interests for staff members who are interested in bringing a dog in. So we have them put an application in. But we've taken the stance that we want to make sure we can support a third dog financially before we add a third dog. And so we're going to be meeting with one of our counselors, I think, toward the end of the year to see where she is with her dog in terms of the process. But she has a dog that she was interested in having be a therapy dog in another one of our elementary schools. So we will add them, I think, slowly as we can afford to add them, but also we want to make sure that we have the right dogs, that we're bringing in the right dogs to the school.
Do they have to have any kind of specific training? Like I know CARES, whereas the high school therapy dogs, the training's pretty intense.
We have utilized CM Dog Academy training in Eldridge, who we've used to train, as well as he's willing to come out to our schools and work with the owners and the handlers in school. But we're not opposed to other organizations or other avenues for training, but one of the requirements is that we have a fully certified therapy dog, training, which is usually is a chunk of money. That we want to make sure that if the dog isn't already trained, that we can afford to do that. Smokey was I hate to tell you this, Jace, but Smokey was a cheap dog because he was already
For the
trained.
district.
For the district.
He was already trained as a service dog, and so we really had to have Jason and Sarah just get trained as handlers and just that other little extra piece. But he was a pretty quick dog to add because he was already there. We just had to get, like we said, the staff trained to have a dog.
And one thing I forgot to say that I kind of regretted, when introducing Smokey to the children, part of Smokey's training happened in a prison where there's a prisoner that works with them, where they kind of do their initial, it's an incentive plan, it's an incentive program for the prisoners, but they're always kind of taken aback at first that he spent time in prison, but there's some lessons in there. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, always the same breed.
No,
He's a Labradoodle.
And Labradoodles are hypoallergenic. I know there's a few families that were concerned about that initially when Smokey started to come to school, and we had to we were kind of playing it by ear as far as how much contact the students had, but they're just a better breed for allergies.
so starting with 2 hypoallergenic dogs also we thought a place to start. Because it's, there's a lot of those kinds of concerns about allergies that are not as big of a concern. You know, hypoallergenic dog. We haven't eliminated any breeds, but that being said, we're trying to be really careful.
Would you welcome anyone from the community who has a trained dog, if they could, if they would be willing to come in for, one day a week?
Well, I think Rock Island has a program similar to that where they have someone bring a dog in as a visit. And so I would say it's a different sort of service than a therapy dog programs who are integrated into schools. I mean, we're looking at next year more like specific curriculum pieces that we can utilize through the handlers and the dogs to work with students. So someone bringing a dog in to visit, I think is very different, a different sort of service than actually having an integrated dog into the school. But I think we've had that before. We've had folks bring in dogs before. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thank you, Cooper. Thank you. Okay, now we'll move on to grow your own update, Dr. Devane.
Yeah, following cute therapy dogs is the hardest act I've ever followed. We'll do our best. We got a great presentation for you. We're super excited. Tom Ryderson, our Director for Instructional Programming is here. He's been instrumental in this program. Our assistant principal at the high school, Chris Moore, is here. He's been instrumental as well. And of course, our teacher, Becky Meneses, and we have a couple students with us too now. Let Becky introduce. But really, truthfully, the program's been very successful for year 1. So we wanted to give you an update on that, talk about the courses, give some teacher and student perspectives as how things are going, and then let you know what we're planning for the future. So I'll let Mr. Ryerson or Moore take it.
Good evening, everybody. Just as a reminder, I know we presented a couple different times about the Grow Your Teacher program, a program we're extremely excited about. And I'm really glad we have our amazing first-year teacher and students here to share their experience with us. Again, we wanted to, because of our conditions of a teacher shortage, because we are looking for clear career pathways for our students, nothing seemed more logical than to have a Grow Your Teacher program at school. So that was our general purpose. We also want more to help increase the diversity within our teachers, within our faculty. And those are the main goals and purposes behind the program. Besides, of course, giving a student, and for me, one of the side benefits is we've had a couple students, I think, figure out maybe they don't want to go into teaching or they want to do something else in the field of education, which is equally helpful for students as they plan their future after high school. And we'll be talking about the specifics of that. Some of the benefits listed here, of course, they are out at our schools, in the elementary schools across the district, observing teachers and with their lessons there. They get to not only experience those, but they also, we've had speakers come in, they've done projects around the high school as well. Different kinds of things that a teacher would do. Those kinds of things, creating bulletin boards, for example, big posters is one example that comes to my mind. That's one of the hands-on learning projects here. Besides that, we have Two Rivers YMCA. I don't have specific numbers yet about how many of our students might be working there. That's another benefit, we partnering with them. Also, of course, the articulated college credit. They will have college credit for two clinical experience classes within the program. And of course, also teaching professional exam. We are currently working with the ROE to get some students who are interested scheduled to take their test to be a paraeducator. So we're just trying to bridge every gap we can and give students every support we can to get them through the program. and hopefully to get them back to the Mullen School District. As you can see here, some of the benefits that we have promised our students who go through this program and complete their college. Again, a guaranteed interview for teaching positions or for paraprofessional positions as well. Guaranteed student teaching or practicum or clinical observation practice placement within the district. And of course, we take care of any application fees. So as our students go through this process, and what my goal is, and our shared goal is that as we encounter other barriers that we hadn't thought of at first, our goal is to constantly take those barriers down to ease the path for those students who want to come back and serve the profession, or specifically serve in the school district. So that's the overview. Want to click? Sure.
Yep. So there's 3 courses in the course sequence for the Grow Your Own program. This is year 1. So we had our first course, the Blueprint for Teaching. Ideally, a student would take that first course their sophomore year, take course 2 their junior year, and course 3 their senior year. However, we let any students who wanted to take that first year course this year to go ahead and jump right into that. If you look at the current enrollments, this year we had 27 high school students in the Blueprint for Teaching course. This was a lot higher number than we were anticipating. So that's fantastic news. For next year, we have 27 new students who are going to take the first year course. So that's also outstanding to have a new set of students going on. We have 12 students that are taking the second course. Now, so if you think about that for a second, we had quite a bit of seniors in that first course. And so you're going to have some drop off in that second year course just because they're graduating and moving on. But if we can continue to get those 27, we're going to have a good group of students going through this program. And one of the great things about this program are those field experiences students get going out to the schools to see mentor teachers in action. We sent out a survey for next year, and we have 55 teachers who volunteered to take a Grow Your Own student next year, just on a volunteer basis, everywhere from elementary through high school to school psychs to counselors. So all aspects of the teaching field.
My slide. Hey, I'm Becky. Thank you so much for just letting this be a thing. This is so great. I feel so blessed every day to be the teacher who gets to start my day with this class. I want to talk to you just about a couple of things. First is just the relationship. So I have built the most amazing relationships with these students. I ask them all the time, I'm like, how did this happen? Like, what did we do that created such genuine relationships? And they'll tell me, it's just the way that you start off the year. It's the way that we built our environment. It's the ease and the safety in the classroom. And when you have that and you have those relationships, so much more is going to come from it. And so that is one amazing thing that I have taken away, and I'm just going to keep on doing it every year as long as I can. I've also increased my relationships with other teachers. So because I'm in a position where I'm coordinating field experiences for 27 kids, I've got to get to know teachers in all these different buildings. I got to step foot in elementary schools I've never been in, because I've only been at the high school and at John Deere first year. So that's been awesome. I've also obviously worked with a team of administrators who have been with me every step of the way. Every time I have a question, every time I have an idea, the answer is almost always yes, which is so wonderful. I've been in the district for 18 years, and I've probably been a little shy about like asking for things, but I feel that they trust me. And so they've said yes, and it's just made for a wonderful experience. We do, as you've heard multiple times, all of my students go out into the world of classrooms. They go every other Thursday for about 1 hour. They are only in elementary schools right now, but next year we're going to open that up to middle and high school as well. And when they're there, they know that they are a teacher. They've got their lanyard on, they're dressed professionally. Sometimes they're interacting with students, but for the most part, this year is just course 1. They're sitting and they're watching and they're looking for exactly what I'm teaching them in class. So when I teach them about multiple intelligences, they're in that classroom looking for how is the teacher, weaving all of that into their curriculum. And so I feel like they're getting that sense of, oh, what I'm teaching is actually mattering, and they're seeing it. Okay. Field trips. So back in the fall, we went to Western Illinois University. They got like a campus visit. They got to sit in on an actual education course. They did some yoga with the counselor, and they got a great tour of the campus. I would hope that course 2 and course 3, as years go on, that the group of kids can go to Ambrose, can go to Augie, can go to, I'd love for them to go to Western and Macomb, not just see the Quad City campus. So there's just so much more to do. Last Thursday, we actually went to John Deere Middle School for in the morning. We went to Wilson Middle School in the afternoon, and they got to see what middle school is like. We also were there for the Cooper. We were there. I had 3 students in that classroom, and one of them, it was actually her younger brother. And so she got to see her brother reach out and touch Cooper, and it was the coolest experience. Yeah, his mom actually sent me the pictures too, so that I could see it all. It was a great moment. But it's awesome to be able to get out of the building and go and be in these schools. In a couple of weeks, April 25th, we're going to Rivermont Collegiate so that students can see what a private school is like and the advantages and disadvantages and how that's different. And then I'm hoping that before the end of the school year, with only 6 weeks left, that I can still make arrangements to go to Jefferson Early Childhood Center so they can see pre-K. So that's all of my field trips, which I'm enjoying immensely. We've had a lot of guest teachers, and we have actually Shannon Flynn from the Y is coming tomorrow. So she's going to come and talk about the Y program and all the ways that they can be using everything they're learning this summer with like their programs. I'll know more tomorrow, to be honest. But I've also, I've got tons of staff members, that my colleagues who love their job and love their profession, and they wanted to get involved. So I've organized it to where I'll say, hey, these are some lessons that I have available. Is anybody an expert? Would you like to come and teach the class? And we'll do like a swap. So I'll take their class, they'll take my class. And that way my students also get to see a different teacher than just me, because there's more than just my style. So overall, it has been absolutely wonderful. I'll take some questions at the end, but I'd love to introduce you to Romina. I'm gonna let Romina come up. Gage is also with us. He's our moral support today, because we're just a little bit nervous, the first board meeting. So this is Romina. Let her talk to you guys.
So I'm a junior at Moline High, as you guys know. My experience, well, first I want to start with my origin story. I was going through the list sophomore year through the electives, and I just checked it off really quickly, checked off my programming, my orchestra elective, and then I didn't know what other elective to do. So I just checked blueprint, and then it passed my mind, but it was blueprint for teaching. And in my mind, I read blueprint for tagging. I want to go to school for engineering, so I was like, okay, this will be good for like experience or whatever. I walk into the first day of class and I'm flabbergasted. I'm like, okay, well, I'm just gonna stay in here. I'll see how it goes. And I ended up still here now, so I enjoy the class. Miss Vanessa's always brings it up, and I think it's something we have like. How do you say it? Yeah, like
Because mine was a full circle.
Yeah.
I want to be a teacher. No, I don't want to be a teacher.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a teacher.
So overall, my experience has been pretty good. I think it's so funny how the therapy dogs came in, because I remember teaching my pit bull the ABCs. So I want since I was younger, I kind of had the idea of being a teacher, and I think this class reintroduced that idea aside from engineering, which I still think is important, but just giving me a little leeway on teaching as well. My experience in the classroom now, Ms. Vanessa does a really great job of letting us see different perspectives, not just her perspectives, but students' perspectives, as in like the Lincoln Irving kids that I go teach. It also helped me build a lot of structure, not just in my school life, but my personal life, so that I can stay organized and, just have a sense of purpose to come to school. And, I look forward to every other Thursday going to go see the kids and relationship building with them as well. The first time I went over, they were a little quiet, but now they, at the end of my visits, they all come up to me and give me a hug, which lights my heart up, which I'm like, oh my gosh, you're so cute. We also have a mantra that we say in the morning every day. It's optional, but a lot of us do say it, and I think it just gave me a sense of community and has taught me a lot of delayed gratification with our work.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
That's year one. It's already a great program. It's amazing how successful it's been getting off the ground. But we're committed to making it better. So as you saw with the course sequence, there's going to be additional courses. We have those mapped out. We have them articulated with our university partners. So we're going to be working on those. We've also coordinated with junior achievement. When the students go from observations, we are going to be able to, junior achievement is committed to providing their lessons to us. So they're mini lessons that are canned, they're packed, and then even willing to train students. So our students can go into elementaries and deliver a lesson. So that should be able to give them a good footing. We also have recently, our district early on was part of an Illinois group, different regions had it. The Blackhawk region had, it's the 60 by 25 network. It's changing its name now. But because of that, we were able to end up, because we were part of that, we've been afforded certain opportunities and certain grants because we did become a 60 by 25 network regionally. And so I was able to end up getting into a grant, and we sent teachers to the National ASCD conference a month ago. And we just sent someone from each level because we have, like Becky is going into our elementaries. So these are people who advise and they support and they spread the word. So I think that's really neat. Because of course too, it's mapped out, but we will refine, we want to give our teachers time so they can really write curriculum, hit the ground running. And we're really excited about that. And we've recently just completed recruitment of additional mentor teachers. And I'm proud to say we've got a very high number. What was that?
55.
55 across our district, which is great. And I can even speak to, we had a session in the auditorium where many of us in this room were able to partner up with students and interviewed, and a huge highlight of my year, and I know many people's years here. It was really neat. The students are so well prepared and curious in their learning. It's amazing. And then we have all of our pieces together, waiting on the state when we can end up completing a college career pathway endorsement. So if a student completes the full rigorous sequence and the state approves, it could be something that can end up going on the diploma as an industry standard. And right now we are working with the ROE, where Mr. Moorhead ended up talking about the para examination. And we have 6 students. Yeah, all the seniors looking towards doing that. We're getting all the details for that so we can really make this thing happen. So those are the next steps that we're currently working, a lot going on, but it's been amazing how wonderful it's been year one. And what we're committed to doing next is just really exciting, beautiful work. So thank you. If you have any questions for us or teacher or students, we're happy to.
I have a quick question. Do you know how many former Moliners are student or teachers in the district, Todd?
We don't have that number up. I can take a look and see what we can find out, but I don't have that number.
Okay, just curious.
I just want to say that what I love about this is that they're already getting out of the classroom, because a lot of times when people student teach, that's their first experience walking into the reality of the classroom, and that can be culture shock. And so I love the idea that they're getting reality now, instead of like, I've gone through my whole entire education degree and now I'm student teaching, and I'm like, holy, what is this?
Well, as you
So I just love that.
And as you know, in the curriculum department, I know Mr. Moore shares the same feelings that we do a lot of different pathway work. And now with our work-based intermediary out of Blackhawk, we're now using Zello data to drive down into individual pieces. And our mantra lately that we've talked about is, if a student looks and Zello says, shows you might like this, oh, I'm curious, and you go and you check it out, and you come back and like, nope. That's a success.
Yes, it is.
Because you're not keep driving down the same dead end. And so we can then help students look somewhere else.
I
just want to say totally agree with that as well. People finding, I mean, in my field, people play hot and cold and you get to go, oh, and you go, oh, I want more of this, give me more of this, or oh, not this. And so it's great that students are having that chance. Question, I know this was brought up, I think, a year ago, but just because I see it on my end at Western is that student teaching, which is a huge unpaid internship, can be a huge barrier for a lot of students. And so I guess as we're looking at funding and decreasing barriers that maybe either through Moline Foundation or through some other things that the district maybe tries to figure out ways that we can have some funding available for students that are coming through this program and that are now committed to trying to review of scholarships in terms of that area. That could be another next benefit bonus step, because that is, I guess, a huge access equity issue when it comes to completing that step in teaching.
Absolutely.
But thank you for all of this. This is amazing.
Yes, wonderful. I have one other thing to say. A million years ago, in a place far, far away, I was a senior in high school. And Moline used to have a child development too. And you were in class half day, and then you went out into the classrooms and worked with the teacher. And I wanted to be a teacher, but got placed with a teacher who was my third grade teacher, and I was sold. Like, that was it. I wanted to be a teacher. I worked with the Moline teacher. That program solidified it for me. So I am so glad to see it kind of like come back. It just makes me happy.
Thank you, everyone. And thank you, students, and thank you. teachers.
I know, I didn't know. I was like, oh my gosh.
No, thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Wow.
Can I have a next is the adjournment? May I have a motion to adjourn? All in favor?
Going to call to order the regular Board of Education meeting that meets in the Coolidge Room, April 11th, 2022. Could I have a roll call, please?
Audrey Adamson. Here. Justin Anderson. Chet DeSmet.
Here.
Kate Schaefer. Here. Maria Estragaros.
Here.
Andrew Wayers.
Here.
Aaron Waldron Smith.
Here. We all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Second, to be mindful of our board norms. Our board members do not make decisions as individuals. We direct all questions to Dr. Savage as she answers directly to us. When sending a question or concern to Dr. Savage, please CC the board president as they are aware of all concerns as well. We do not reply all to emails, and we understand the role when communicating with the public. Rather than trying to provide solutions for someone who comes to the board with concern, board members should provide a pathway to finding that solution. We follow the chain of command for district leadership. We as a board need to use it to direct those with questions to the appropriate cabinet members so they receive the right answer the first time. We are respectful and we do not speak over one another during meetings. We stick to the subject in hand, particularly during closed session. Moving on to approval of minutes. Minutes of the open session of the regular Board of Education meeting of March 10th, 2022. Can I have a motion, please?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The minutes of the closed session of the regular Board of Education meeting of March 10th, 2022. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. No public comment? Nope. Okay. All right. Number 5 is the public hearing of proposed 21-22 amended school district budget. Okay. We will now begin the hearing of the proposed 21-22 amended school district budget. Is there anyone who wishes to speak in favor of the proposed 21-22 amended school district budget? Hearing none. Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition to the proposed 21-22 amended school district budget? Okay, is there anyone who wishes to speak neither for nor against the proposed 2021-2022 amended school district budget, but wishes to offer additional information? All right. So hearing no public comment, we will now close the hearing of the proposed 21-22 amended school district budget. All right, moving on to the consent agenda. Okay. Board of Education, recommended motion is that the Board of Education approve the actions contained in the consent agenda items A1 and A3, E through O, P1 and Q3 through S as presented.
So moved.
Second.
May I have any discussion? No, okay. Can I have a roll call, please?
Chet DeSmet.
Aye.
Kate Schaefer. Aye. Maria S. Trigueros.
Aye.
Andrew Ware.
Aye.
Audrey Adamson.
Aye.
Aaron Walter Smith.
Aye. The motion that the Board of Education approve the actions contained in consent agenda item A2 as presented. Can I have a motion, please?
Kate Schaefer.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, may I have a roll call, please?
Kate Schaefer. Abstain. Maria S. Trigueros.
Aye.
Andrew Ware.
Aye.
Audrey Adamson.
Aye.
Chet DeSmet.
Aye.
Aaron Walter Smith.
The amended motion for P2 is that the Board of Education approve the purchase and delivery of tables, student and teacher desks, along with chairs for all elementary and secondary schools from Paragon Commercial Interiors Incorporated, Davenport, Iowa, for a cost not to exceed $475,000. I need a motion to approve the actions contained in consent agenda item P2 as amended.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, can I have a roll call, please?
Maria S. Trigueros.
Aye.
Andrew Ware.
Aye.
Audrey Adamson. Aye. Chet DeSmet.
Aye.
Kate Schaefer. Aye. Aaron Walter Smith.
Okay, number 7, the adoption of the school district amended budget for 2021-2022 fiscal year. Recommended motion is that the Board of Education approve the resolution authorizing the adoption of the amended budget for 2021-2022 fiscal school year. I have a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? I could have a roll call, please.
Andrew Ware.
Aye.
Audrey Adamson.
Aye.
Chet DeSmet.
Aye.
Kate Schaefer. Aye. Maria S. Trigueros. Aye. Aaron Walter Smith.
Aye. Okay, moving on. Number 8, approval of the Tax Layer Center for the Moline High School 2022 graduating class. Recommended motion is that the Board of Education approve the rental of the Tax Layer Center, Moline, Illinois, for the commencement ceremony for Moline High School graduating class of 2022 on Sunday, May 29th, 2022 at 7 p.m. for the anticipated amount of $16,911. May I have a motion, please?
Second.
Any discussion?
I just want to, it's just one graduation ceremony for everybody. Thank you.
Can I have a roll call, please?
Audrey Adamson.
Aye.
Chet DeSmet.
Aye.
Kate Schaefer.
Aye.
Maria S. Trigueros.
Aye.
Andrew Ware.
No.
Aaron Walter Smith.
Aye. Okay. Number 9 is the sale of property for Stanley Inkstrom Park in Coal Valley. The recommended motion is that the Board of Education sell Stanley Inkstrom Park, PIN number 1726421, SUPBR ASTV map lot 44, sheet 16, to the village of Coal Valley as a quit claim deed for $1. I have a motion, please. So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, can we have a roll call, please?
Chet DeSmet.
Aye.
Kate Schaefer.
Aye.
Maria S. Trigueros.
Aye.
Andrew Ware.
Aye.
Audrey Adamson.
Aye.
Aaron Walter Smith.
Aye. 10 is the approval to engage Chief Financial Officer search firm. The Board of Education has approved the engaged services of School Exec Connect, Oak Park, Illinois, to conduct Chief Financial Officer search at a cost not to exceed $17,000. Can I have a motion, please? So moved. Any discussion? I was going to say I'm happy to see that we're using school. Exact again, is they were very successful for us last time. Can I have a roll call, please?
Chet DeSmith,
Aye.
Kate Schaefer. Aye. Maria S. Trigueros.
Aye.
Andrew Wayer.
Aye.
Audrey Adamson.
Aye.
Aaron Halbert Smith.
Aye. All right, Dr. Savage, you are up.
Okay, just a couple of reminders. This Friday, there's no school for the district calendar. Offices are closed. That is just a reminder as we approach into spring and the calendar seems to be moving more quickly. Coming up next week, we will also host our annual kindergarten roundup. This is an exciting time of year for our new youngest learners. This event will occur next Thursday, April 21 at each elementary school. Parents are encouraged to reach out to their boundary school to get the process started, and registration materials can also be found online. Q4 community conversation. Our final community conversation is scheduled for Thursday, April 28th, and at this time is slated to be a lunchtime event from noon to 1. If any members of the board wish to accompany me in person or virtually, please let me know. And we also can be flexible with the time if it works out better for that to be an evening event. Volunteer appreciation. With spring upon us, so comes many special events to recognize the achievements and service of others. Next week begins a time to recognize the efforts of our many amazing school volunteers. It is National Volunteer Appreciation Week, and I would like to directly thank all of the awesome volunteers in our community that continue to serve and support our students and their community schools. You are so very much appreciated for all that you do. Moline Public School Foundation fundraiser. This spring also brings about the annual fundraiser for the Moline Public Schools Foundation. After a few years of not being able to meet, this is an exciting time. The foundation monies directly support learning in our classrooms. The teacher grants award funds for special and unique classroom projects and extra special learning and teaching wants that go beyond traditional curriculum and supplies. The event will be held on Thursday, May 5th from 6 to 9 p.m. at the Old Oaks Winery in Milan, and tickets can be purchased on the Moline Public School Foundation website, and you are invited to attend. That is all I have for tonight.
All right, open discussion. Dave.
Craig and I had two different separate board RFPs go out, request for proposal, and we only got one bid. One was for telephones and one was for middle school music for Lights On Learning. This is the second time I've only had a single bid. So we'd like just the permission to open them, and we'll come back to you in the future with recommendations.
Feel free. Oh, just wanted to comment that hopefully the tonight after meeting we will have evals. I emailed you something here and stuff in terms of support for the emails. So just letting you know that process is happening now. Sorry, so just be a little proud of communication regarding that. And in terms of volunteering, I would also like to put out there that if you want to keep the party going on the evening of graduation, project graduation, still looking for volunteers to stay up way late. You can come hang out till like 3 in the morning with me if you'd like at South Park. But if you can't do that, there is the link to make a donation to help support that event. So if you have an opportunity to do so, it's a great send off for our graduates. So if you are able to make a donation or come hang out with me, let me know. So
Audrey, I'm not going to volunteer her, but I am. Can old alumni who did this last year come volunteer?
I'm not sure what our typical policy or how many years out that would be. Let me check with the chairs to see their thoughts on that.
Because I can make her do stuff.
Yeah. So let me know though if anybody's interested in volunteering or needs information about making a donation.
Could you send out the link?
Yeah, I'll send out the link for the donations.
The only other thing I want to say is Dr. Savage and Todd were at the high school last week talking to the students about what they wanted to see as qualities in their new principal. I was able to get direct feedback from Rowan, who I just want to say really enjoyed the process and really liked how it went. And she told me that all of the students were engaged and they were really excited about it and felt heard. So I just wanted to share that. Anything else? All right.
I would like a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
We are adjourned. Go home.